Hello and welcome to the Esoteric Order of Gamers. Well, you probably know me by now. I'm pretty passionate and positive about tabletop games of all types. But today, hold on to your socks because I'm going to go through 10 games I'll probably never play again. Now, before I get started, let me mention a few things. Of course, go to my website at orderofgamers.com. You'll find hundreds and hundreds of rule summaries and references for lots of games. Also, Tabletop Codex is my fantastic rules playing and learning app. Check it out at tabletopcodex.com. Right, let's get on to it. 10 games I'll probably never play again. Now, I don't want you to take me too seriously in this video. This is just a bit of fun. And if I say anything negative about these games, they all have positive merits as well, and this is a very, very subjective video. I'm not going to play these games again because they're bad. I'm just not going to play them again because they're not for me. And I very much recognise and acknowledge that a lot of people do enjoy them, and I want them to keep enjoying them. This is a very personal look at just some games that didn't click for me for various reasons. So let's get started with number 10, Ghost Stories by Antoine Bauza and Riposte Productions, 2008. Well, I can't show you my copy of this one because I've sold it. Ghost Stories just wasn't for me. It looks beautiful. The artwork was fantastic. The graphic design was great. It's a lovely looking package, but it was just too hard. Every time I played Ghost Stories, it kicked my proverbial. And I just didn't enjoy it after a while. Now, I could have spent a lot more time getting to know it and working it out, but of course it was so random in the card draws that I just got discouraged. So it had to go. Sorry about that, Ghost Stories. You will, of course, still find a rules and reference for it on my website. Number 8 is Talisman, the magical quest game. Oh no, I can hear a million voices crying out in horror and being suddenly silenced. Talisman, the classic? I mean, it came out in 1987, the original. Here it is. This is the original box. Absolutely beautiful. Got all the expansions when it first came out. It was pretty revolutionary stuff when it was released. It was a fantasy adventure board game, and there were very little games like it on the market. There was Dungeon, that was a well-known one, maybe a couple of others. This one was just bursting with art and fun and adventuring, and it was cool. But it is just a very basic roll and move game. It's not very interesting, and it goes on for ages and ages, and it's anticlimactic at the end. It basically comes down to a dice roll at the end. I love random games, but there are so many more interesting games than Talisman. Yet for some reason, it keeps being remade and remade and remade and remade. This is the revised 4th edition by Fantasy Flight, which was 2007. And it's been remade a few times since then. And I don't know why. Probably just for nostalgia value, because all the people who buy it, play it and go, yeah, it's not very interesting. A lot more interesting games. So as much as I'm going to keep it on my shelf, and I will definitely always keep this version because it has a lot of nostalgia value, I doubt very much I'll play it again. Number 8 is Chainsaw Warrior. This was by Stephen Hand. It was published by Games Workshop back in, wait for it, 1987. Yeah, this is an oldie. It's a solo game, which was very unusual at the time. And it's basically you're the Chainsaw Warrior slicing and dicing your way through countless zombies in an office block. And it's incredibly random and it's kind of dull and I will never play it again. Which is a shame because Stephen Hand showed so much promise. He created Fury of Dracula, the 1st edition, which to this day, not the 1st edition, but the later, I think it's the 3rd edition is the one I like the most. Well, it's one of my favourites. It's still a fantastic thematic game. So he had so much potential, but this one came out and it was very quickly followed by Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, which is another sort of dull game. And, you know, it has a little 3D tower in it, but that doesn't save it from being boring and random and silly. After that, I'm not really sure if he did much of anything. So a bit sad, but these games probably never going to play again. Though I will keep them in my collection because I'm very proud of my collection of early Games Workshop board games. Number 7 is 2005's Descent: Journeys in the Dark. What a game. When this came out, it certainly changed the landscape of dungeon crawlers. This huge coffin box full of miniatures, dungeon tiles, A great system by Kevin Wilson, which used the iconographic system on dice that Doom first introduced. And it played well, it was fun. Hold on, did I say it played well? Yeah, it did, but it was so long. It just went on and on and on and on. And the frustrating thing about this game, it's a one versus many game. You have an overlord and a number of players. And the overlord was always spawning new creatures on the board, obviously. And the combat system took quite a long time. So if the adventurers went into a room and there were like 3 giants in there or something, you could spend hours just killing those giants. And then the adventurers would go through a door into another room and the overlord would go, look, another 3 giants. And you go, oh no. It just goes on. Doom also went on and on and on, though we did play it a lot because it was just so cool, science fiction, dungeon crawling. So I will play the new edition of Doom. I won't play the first edition of Doom anymore, and I won't play the first edition of Descent, Journeys in the Dark anymore either. Oh, I forgot to mention, to this day, when I play games with my old gaming buddy Will, and we've had a long gaming session, we're both exhausted, we possibly have had a few too many drinks, and it's basically the end of the evening. We still say, fancy a quick game of Descent? It's just a little running joke between us. Number 6 is something a bit different. It's Blood on the Clocktower by the Pandemonium Institute. Now, this is a social game. It's based on the werewolf game system, but it introduces a lot more complexity into it because you have separate characters that all have separate special abilities. Now, this is a very, very popular game. It did very well on its Kickstarter. It's by some fellow Australians, which I'm very proud of. And it's considered an excellent game. And I have played it once and really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to make a little confession. I actually did quite a bit of the graphic design work on this game. However, in the end, lots of changes were made to my design, so I decided it wasn't really appropriate for me to be in the credits anymore. Now, this is the kind of game that heaps of people get into, and I completely understand why. When I was working on it, I went to a big party at the designer's place, and lots of people were playing it in this large house all at the same time. Everyone was having a fantastic time. I played it once, as I said, and I really enjoyed it. And then the author turned around to me and said, do you want to play again? And I went, no, that's all right. Because once was enough. I just find that these social games don't, for some reason, ring my bell. I don't know why. I'm actually quite a social person, but I don't like my social situations being controlled by game rules. That said, this is a cool game, and if you do like social games, I'm sure you'll absolutely love it. I just don't think I'll ever play it again. Number 5 is Race for the Galaxy by Rio Grande Games. Came out in 2007. Race for the Galaxy, well, it's a card game and it's got lots of icons on it. So many icons. Icon soup, in fact. This is, again, a very popular game. A lot of people love it. It's very clever and it's a great sort of tableau building, deck kind of building game. However, I just don't find it very attractive or interesting. I've played it a couple of times and I don't think I'll ever play it again. Being a professional graphic designer, I'm incredibly sensitive to the graphic design in games. And I realise that a lot of people don't care. As long as it's functional, that's fine. But I like graphic design to be both functional and attractive. And there's a language here of iconography in here that I think that they got very excited about and then forgot to make it visually attractive and easy to communicate. So I've actually read articles on the fact that there is a kind of language of iconography in this game. That's great, except it's not really coming across well because it didn't click for me and it took me ages and I was constantly referring to icons on a reference sheet. So as a graphic designer, this kind of game kind of hurts to play and I won't be playing it again. Number 4 is Carcassonne 2000. Oh wow, what a popular game. How many expansions has Carcassonne had? Must be hundreds. A lot. Now, again, this is a very clever, popular and well-loved game. It's a tile-laying game where you make up your little cities and roads and fields to get points. And I used to have a copy and I sold it. And one of the reasons is that after a while, I didn't find it very interesting. Now, I played the app version of Carcassonne a lot. It's one of those rare game apps on my phone that I actually did use to play solo quite a lot because it was an attractive little app. It was easy to play. It was fine. And certainly playing that quite a lot put me off playing the board game version. And then I stopped playing it on the app, and then I just realised the game just wasn't for me. It's kind of fun, but also I'm not keen about games where you have to do a lot of adding up of points at the end. I always feel it's anticlimactic. However, I'm not against tile-laying games, and I have an excellent alternative, which is this one, Land vs. Sea by Good Games Publishing. Now, I must make a disclaimer first, and that is that I do a lot of work for Good Games Publishing. So they sent me a copy of this because it's one of their more popular games, and it is very cool. It's a tile-laying game, but it's much more interesting than Carcassonne, in my opinion. You get to either play the land player or the sea player, and you put all the tiles together to get points, and there are also lots of extra little scoring systems that you can layer on top of the basic game. So you can play the simple version, which is great, or you can make it even more interesting by adding more systems. There's also an expansion coming for it called Uncharted. If you like tile-laying games, I reckon this is the one to play, and I really won't be playing Carcassonne again. Number 3 is another Fantasy Flight Games. It is the venerable Arkham Horror First Edition by Richard Launius and Kevin Wilson, and released in 2005. What a stir this made when it came out. I mean, it was so thematic, so full of artwork, nicely designed, very just immersive and imaginative, very cool. However, again, Fantasy Flight, it was so long. And it was anticlimactic because you go to all this trouble and then the big bad would come out and you'd probably die. Now, I've got a lot of love for this game. I have all the expansions, and I spent so much time making the rules and reference for this game. It went through countless versions, and it took probably hundreds of hours of work. So I've invested a lot into this game, but I hadn't played it for a long, long time. I brought it out a few months ago to try it again, and it was interminably long and slow and tedious and random. Now, a lot of people are going to say, no, this is the best. It's all the favourite. It's fantastic. That's cool. If you enjoy it, that's so cool. And please keep doing so. For me, however, I decided I'm going to check out 3rd edition. Did I just say this was 1st edition? Because it's not. It's 2nd edition. The 1st edition was just by Richard Launius, and it came out in the 80s. So 3rd edition is the newer version of this by Fantasy Flight, and that works really well. I'm really happy with it. It's much more story-focused. It has little scenarios, which are reinforced by the cards that you put into the decks. And it just plays so much better. This one just rambles on. It's like an open world computer game that just has no point, like a lot of the Assassin's Creed games. Anyway, Arkham Horror 2nd edition is not one I'll be playing again. I'll be playing 3rd edition from now on. But I won't be selling it because, I don't know, it's just so cool. Number 2 is Space Alert by Vlada Chvátil and Czech Games Edition. Now, a lot of people, again, love this game. And I thought, I've got to get this. It sounds like a bit of a classic. So I got it, played it, didn't like it. And one of the reasons I didn't like it is because I don't like pre-programmed sections in games. In this game, you're in a spaceship and you have to basically, in real time, as things are being read out to you by, there's a CD in this game now, but I'm sure there's an app version of it now. You have to try and control all the disasters that are happening on the ship. And then there's kind of a playthrough part that's pre-programmed, and it tells you all the terrible things that happen to your ship. I don't like games sort of taking the reins from me and saying, this is what happens now, and you have to go through this process of steps, and this is what a disaster you've made of whatever you did before. I know there's a lot of potential there for fun and humour and laughs, but I didn't find it very funny or humorous or laughable. So I'm going to sell this one. I've just put it on the sold pile. It's been on my shelf for a long time. And now I'm going to say, poor old Vlada Chvátil. I mean, he is a very popular games designer. He's made some very cool games, but I'm going to bash him a little bit in these last 2 because number 1 is Mage Knight, the board game. Now, I highly respect Vlada Chvátil, of course. And in fact, I worked on his first game, which was Prophecy. Look, it's up there on the shelf. I did a lot of work on that one for Z-Man Games back in the day, and he's made some extremely popular games, and Mage Knight, the board game, is a very, very popular one. I have to say I didn't like Galaxy Trucker either because, again, pre-programmed sections, don't really like them. Now, I played Mage Knight at Wellycon, which is a board games get-together in Wellington in New Zealand, And someone there said, oh, look, do you want to play this? It's a fantasy game. It'll be right up your alley. I thought, yeah, cool. And then like 2 hours later, we had a rough idea of how to play the game because it was just so complicated. And then when we started playing, I realised immediately that I just wasted 2 hours learning a game that I would never play again. Now, quite apart from the fact that it's not a very attractive game, it was released by WizKids, it's got some dinky little miniatures in it, and the graphic design isn't very good, and the rule book is impenetrable. There's a whole system in Mage Knight which doesn't appeal to me at all, and that is puzzle solving. And in this game, every time you want to do something, you have to come up with the right combination of cards and gems and things, I can't remember, it was ages ago, to pay for whatever you're doing. So you may just want to sort of go, look, I'm in this hex and I want to go over to this hex, but you can't just do that or roll a dice to do it or do some, make the decision. No, you've got to come up with the perfect combination of cards. So you'll sit there, spend ages coming up with this combo, and you go, right, I've got enough of the right stuff to make that move, and then you'll realize, oh no, I missed one icon on the board, so no, I can't. Okay, so I've got to work out all the cards to do something else instead. I may have 3 options to do something, and I've got to work out the puzzle each time. It drove me spare. I couldn't stand it. And a lot of people have asked me to do a rules and reference for Mage Knight, but that experience was so scarring, I just don't want to go anywhere near it. It is my #1 game I will never play again. And I know this is going to cause a bit of an uproar because it's very popular, but I just feel if you're going to make a fantasy game or a dungeon crawling or a dungeon adventuring kind of game, or even a sci-fi game, you've got to invest the mechanics with speed and fun and enjoyment. Perhaps puzzle solving is not the right genre for this kind of game. And I feel a bit the same way about Gloomhaven as well, which I played and didn't enjoy it because, again, it was using combos of cards to do something. And I just, for me, puzzle games or puzzle systems don't gel well with adventure games. There you go, controversial opinion there. I'd like to hear what you think. Let me know those games that you'll never play again. Let me know if you strongly disagree with any of my choices. And remember, let's keep it light, folks. I'm not saying any of these games are bad. In fact, they're all great games and well designed and well produced, and lots of people love them. This is just my personal opinion and my personal experiences. And I'm sure a lot of them are wrong. Maybe I will go back and play some of them. Thanks very much for watching Good Gaming, and I will see you next time.